Hello all, and welcome to the first salty side of the Salty Safe Cracker. Thanks for joining me.
Turn this upside down.
Here we go, starting off. I had these cool aspirations of being able to cut this big old chunk of live rock, and unfortunately that just wasn't working quite as I wanted it to. So you'll see here eventually I kind of give up on that and I have to resort to other means. But the motivation behind chopping all these corals up is in multiple parts. The primary reason for my tank, if you saw in the intro, there was all these ugly kind of brown anemone looking things, and the aquarium community will recognize those as Aptasia, and they just tend to multiply and take over a tank. My fragging efforts here in the video are a means of removing those Aptasia from the tank. I'm more or less chopping down the block of live rock in order to separate the coral, my target species, from the Aptasia, which is a pest species. Here you can see the diamond blade, like it's cutting well, but it's not cutting straight. I've got this weird wavy thing happening and it's preventing me from making like bite-sized pieces from the rock, and it's also causing the blade to come off of the rotor. And so this is me remounting it for the second time. The secondary purpose of chopping the coral up is to produce multiple colonies and accelerate the growth rate of the coral. At this point, I also decided to switch the camera view to see if I could get a better angle for you guys. And honestly, I was much happier with this, and it really highlights the difficulty I'm having in getting through this live rock. You can see the blade is deforming and curving and just giving me fits. And at this point, you can see I gave up, and you'll hear distinct cracks in the background. I went and found a masonry chisel, and I'm breaking the live rock up. You'll also shortly hear my continued optimism about the project. Okay. Maybe the next one will be easier. What do you think?
Hopefully. You never know.
Well, I think the next one I'm actually only going to cut coral instead of live rock, so fingers crossed. Boom. Right.
Did you see my last finger?
Yeah, I did. I liked it. At this point, we finally get to see me cutting some actual coral that I have been able to remove from the live rock. You might also be wondering about the glove. It's never a bad idea to wear gloves when handling any of these corals, as they are in the phylum Cnidaria, which is a group of animals with stinging cells. These stinging cells, called nematocysts, can be loaded with all kinds of crazy compounds. In some species, it can cause intense pain. In other species, if your lungs are exposed to it, you will require a trip to the hospital. None of the ones I'm working with have any toxicity levels in which we would be concerned about a trip to the hospital, so I'm not wearing any kind of respirator to protect my airway. That said, this next part is particularly exciting to me as I get to share my passion with my newest employee, Jacob.
So this piece is super thin, and you don't have to worry about cutting any of this, so it'll go pretty quick. Okay? Just light pressure going through, keep your hands away from the blades. You're okay to touch the surface of the coral. You just don't want to like squeeze it or crush it, okay?
Okay.
And we're just cutting this in half.
Okay.
Sweet, look at you go.
Here we begin taking the fragmented pieces, or the pieces of coral that we cut into smaller pieces, and gluing them onto some ceramic plates that I had purchased ahead of time. What you don't see me doing at the bottom of the screen is there's a second bucket with some dip or coral medicine that we're placing the fragments into. This will allow them to kind of recover from the process of fragmenting.
Oh boy, a customer!
Thank you guys so much for coming along for the ride. Following up here in a second is going to be some before and after pictures of the coral so you can see more or less what we've done.
Wasn't that fun? Did you have fun, Jacob?
Yes, it was very fun.